Hello students, I am Narendra Ade from RCRT Chandrapur. In this video, we will focus on projections of the plane which is inclined to both horizontal plane and the vertical plane. When plane is inclined to both horizontal plane and the vertical plane, its projections are drawn in three stages. In the first stage, you have to draw projections in a simple positions, means assuming the plane parallel to one of the reference plane. In the second stage, take the plane inclined to the one of the plane, and in the third stage, take the plane inclined to the other plane. See here, I will explain with the help of the problem. A thin 30-60 degree set square has its longest edge in a vertical plane and inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. Its surface makes an angle of 45 degrees with the VP. Draw its projections. Here 30-60 degree set square, it's simply that is the right angle triangle. Right angle triangle. For the longest side means its hypotenuse, it is given in a vertical plane, and that longest side is given 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. The surface of the plane makes 45 degrees with that is in a vertical plane. Now you have to draw the projections. To decide the true shape of the plane, to draw the true shape of the plane in that is in a first stage, that can determine from the plane inclination or surface inclination. So see in the question, surface making 45 degrees to the with the vertical plane. Therefore, as the surface is 45 degrees with a vertical plane, that inclination is seen in the top view. Inclination is seen in that is the top view. Therefore, in the second stage, you have to take that in inclination. So here, surface making 45 degrees with the vertical plane. In the top view, you have to take that inclination in that is the second stage. You know that one, to draw the first stage of the plane, you have to make the plane, you have to assume the plane parallel to the that plane to its plane is inclined. Here plane is inclined by angle of 45 degrees with the vertical plane. Therefore assume the plane parallel to the vertical plane. And you know, whenever plane is parallel to the vertical plane, in a vertical plane, the true shape of the plane appear in the front view, a projection on the vertical plane. True shape of the plane appear in the front view. As in the question, surface is given 45 degrees with that is in a vertical plane. Therefore, you can start a problem by drawing the true shape in the front view. Now, you have to draw the true shape in that is in a front view. That is the right angle triangle. Here, two angles are given, and that hypotenuse is given in the question. So, what you will do, and that longest side given in the vertical plane. Longest side is in the vertical plane. So this is a sideways problem, and a specific side is mentioned here. Longest side is given. Longest side is given. Therefore, while drawing the true shape of that is a plane and a right angle triangle, you draw it such that that longest side must perpendicular to the xy. Here longest side is given, you take the longest side. Instead of the longest side, suppose in the question shortest side is given there. So what you will do, this is the shortest side, that you have to take a vertical. Which side is given, that you have to take perpendicular to the xy. In a regular polygons, in the regular suppose the plane, all sides are remain that is equal in the length. Therefore, you can take the any suppose the side. But in this suppose the plane, as the sides are different in the length, the side given, specific side is given. That specific side you have to take perpendicular to the xy. Here longest side is given in a vertical plane. Therefore, while drawing the true shape of the plane in the front view, that longest side you have to take perpendicular to the xy. This is the longest side. Take the longest side perpendicular to the xy. From the one end, draw the line making the 30 degrees, and from the other end, draw the line making the 60 degrees. You will get the required, that is the right angle triangle. Required right angle triangle. That is the plane. That is the true shape of the plane. Then project it up to that is the xy line to get that is the top view. So here plane is in a vertical plane. That's why that front top view on the xy line. You have to draw the top view on the xy line. So this is the top view. This is the top view. That is the surface in a vertical plane. Then in the second stage of that is a problem, you have to make the plane inclined to vertical plane. You have to make the plane inclined by an angle of 45 degrees with a vertical plane, and that side, longest side, that should be in a vertical plane. That should be in a vertical plane. See in that is the top view. If the longest side is perpendicular to the horizontal plane in a vertical plane. Therefore, in the front view, there is the line perpendicular to the xy, and in a top view, there is that is a point on the xy. So this point, end of the surface, that represents the top view of the longest side AC. top view of the longest side, that is an AC. Though this is that is a point, but there are that is a two, that is a point, that is a top view of that is a line, top view of the longest side. Therefore, this end represent the longest side. That longest side you have to take in a xy line in a second stage in a vertical plane. Therefore, mark this A and C, this end on the xy line, means you have taken longest side in a vertical plane, longest side in a vertical plane. If you let suppose by mistake, suppose if you take suppose a B suppose on the xy and you draw the make suppose the surface suppose inclined, then that is the wrong here, because you have taken suppose a B in xy, means that point B, that is simply the single point that represents the corner B in a vertical plane. In the same question, suppose there is given the corner B in a vertical plane and surface making the angle. Then you have to any change. What you have to do? You have to first take the B, which is the this is that is in a corner B, that you take on the xy line and draw the line making that is in a 45 degrees. But instead of the corner B, here the longest side AC given in a vertical plane. Therefore, take this AC in a xy and make the surface by 45 degrees to the vertical plane. Take the same length along that is in a 45 degrees, mark there the point B, then project up, and from the previous front view draw the loci lines, lines parallel to the xy. These vertical lines, they are called the projectors, and the lines from the previous front view, these are the lines parallel to the xy line, these are called the locus lines. Okay, mark the points of intersection. On the points of intersection you will get the reduced figure A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash. This is the front view of the plane, and this is the reduced figure. This is the reduced figure after making the plane inclined to the vertical plane, and here two conditions are satisfied. In the question there are given that is the three conditions. The longest side is given in a vertical plane, surface 45 degrees to the vertical plane, and the third data that longest side is 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. Out of that there are three, two are that is completed here. The longest side in the VP, surface 45 degrees to that is a VP, 45 degrees to the VP. The farthest one, this is the front view. This is the front view. In the front view, you can observe there A1 dash C1 dash, this is the longest side. It is given perpendicular to the horizontal. It is a perpendicular to the horizontal plane. Suppose in the question, instead of giving inclined 30 degrees to the SP, suppose there is given that longest side is perpendicular to the SP, then this is the solution of that is the problem. You have not to draw the third stage. You have not. There is no need of drawing that is the third stage. All the data given that will satisfy in the second stage. You see that one side is in the VP. Side is in the VP, side is perpendicular to the VP, and the surface is 45 degrees to the VP. But here that longest side, instead of giving perpendicular to the horizontal plane, it is given 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. That's why you have to draw the third stage. In the third stage, now draw the third stage so that longest side make 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. Therefore, this figure you can turn so that A1 dash C1 dash, which is the longest side, it will make an angle of 30 degrees to the XY in the front view. Or another way, you can draw the line making 30 degrees to the XY. Along this one, take that A1 dash C1 dash, same length here. Then by the geometry, obtain the B1 dash, take the A1 dash B1 dash is the radius. From the A dash, cut the one arc, and from the C1 dash B1 dash, cut that is another arc. You will get that is the same figure. The figure, this final front view, and the figure of the second stage, both are the same figure. Both are the same figure. In all the problems of projections of the plane, reduced figure of the second stage and the final figure of that is in a third stage always remain the same, that is in a figure. Only their orientation will that is in a different. Here it is in the vertical position, here it is in the inclined position, because here plane is inclined to the horizontal plane. Plane is inclined to the horizontal plane. Your longest side is inclined to the horizontal plane. Here that longest side is perpendicular to the horizontal plane. Your longest side is inclined to the horizontal plane. Though the longest side is inclined to the horizontal plane, plane is coming inclined to the horizontal plane, but that figure is not changing. That figure will remain that is the same. Always you have to draw the same figure there. Then after drawing the figure, you draw the projectors vertically to obtain that is a final, that is the top view, and from this and a second top view of the second stage, you draw the locus line, mark there the points of intersection, obtain the points and connect in that is in a suppose the sequence, then figure obtain that is the required, that is the top view. So see that one A1, B1, C1, this is the top view of that is in a plane. A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash, this figure is the front view of the plane. Now you can check that the given data, longest side, we have denoted the longest side by the AC, by the end suppose the AC. Here A1 C1, this is the top view of the line AC, top view of the side AC, that is in a XY, that is in the XY, means that side is in a vertical plane. Now in the front view A1 dash C1 dash, it is a 30 degrees to that is the XY. In a front view means that side is inclined 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. So the longest side is 30 degrees to the horizontal plane and it is in the vertical plane, that is given in the question. Therefore the solution, whatever the solution obtained, whatever the projection suppose here drawn, that is correct, because data is satisfying here, data is that is satisfying, then your solution is correct there. Longest side inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal plane, that's why that inclination is appearing in the front view, and it is given in a vertical plane, that's why it is a its top view on the XY line. Again that one, these figures, front view and the top view, these are the final projections, final front view, top view. You can observe here, front view is the reduced figure as well as the top view also the reduced figure. You already know that one, whenever plane is inclined to both horizontal plane and the vertical plane, the front view and the top view both are the reduced figure, both are the reduced figure. No one is the true shape of that is the plane, because the plane inclined with a both, that is a plane, it is a reduced in that is in both direction. Therefore front view as well as the top view both are the reduced figure, both are the reduced figure. Take one more, that is an equation. A thin rectangular plate of the sides of 60 millimeter and the 30 millimeter has its shortest side in the vertical plane. Here given, again see that on rectangular plane having the side of 60 and the 30. The sides are unequal. The longer side is that 60 millimeter and the shortest side is that 30 millimeter. And in a question there is given the shortest side. In the previous problem there was the longest side, here is the shortest side. This problem is based on the shortest side. You have to give the importance to that is shortest side. Shortest side is important in this, that is a question. You have to focus on that is a shortest side. The shortest side is in the vertical plane and it is inclined 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. It is inclined 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. Project its and a top view. If the front view is a square of 30 millimeter long side, front view of that in a plane, front view of the rectangular plane is a square of 30 millimeter sides, 30 millimeter side. Now in the question, to solve that is a problems of projections of the plane, always you require that is a surface inclination. Here surface inclination is not given. Surface inclination is not given. Instead of giving that instead of giving the surface inclination, the front view of the plane is given. Front view of the plane is given, that is in a square. Front view of the plane is given the square. Meaning of that one, and it is given in the front view. That square is the reduced figure. It is given in that is in a front view. Means that rectangle is the plane. Rectangle is the plane. That is the true shape of that is in a plane. And the square is the reduced shape. That is the apparent that is in a shape. And that is given in the front view. As it is given in the front view, means that plane must incline to the vertical plane. Whenever plane is inclined to the vertical plane, you get a reduced figure in the front view. A reduced figure in the front view. Suppose there is given, instead of giving the square in the front view, suppose given in the top view. If suppose the square is given, the reduced figure is in that is in a top view, means that plane is inclined to the horizontal plane. That reduced figure in the front view or top view, that will depend upon the inclination of that is a surface to the horizontal plane or vertical plane. Therefore, when your plane is inclined to the horizontal plane, you will get a reduced figure in the top view, and when plane is inclined to that is a vertical suppose the plane, you will get the reduced figure in the front view. Here that reduced figure, which is the square, first you have to decide which is the true shape and which is the reduced figure. The events very simply, which is suppose the larger one. Here rectangle is the larger and the square is that is suppose the smaller one. The larger is that is the true shape of the plane, and the smaller one figure, that is the apparent shape of that is the section, that is a reduced figure. The here square is the reduced figure and it is appearing in that in a front view, means plane is inclined to the vertical plane. Though that inclination is not given, here you have to decide, instead of giving the surface inclination directly. Until now whatever the problem we have that is seen, in that in a problem there was given that is a surface inclination, so you can very easily that is decide, you very easily you can solve that in a problem. But here that surface inclination is not given. Instead of giving the surface inclination, there is given the reduced figure, and that reduced figure is given in the front view. So means that plane is inclined to the vertical plane and perpendicular to the horizontal plane. Perpendicular to the horizontal plane. That's why in the top view there is a line making the same angle if the plane makes with that is with a vertical plane. Now, if the plane is inclined towards in a vertical plane, so in the first stage you take the plane in the vertical plane parallel to the vertical plane, so that true shape of the plane in that is a true shape of the plane seen in that is in a front view. You have to draw the rectangle in that is in a front view. Now, how to draw the rectangle? With a longer side that is in a horizontal, a longer side that is in a vertical. That can decide from the given that is the data. Here shortest side is given in a vertical plane. This is the very useful that is the data to decide the true shape of the plane, to draw the true shape of the plane. Some data would have given there. Suppose in the same question, suppose the longest side is given in the vertical plane. That also that is possible. Instead of the shortest side, there is given suppose the longest side in the vertical plane. Remaining data that remain that is in age it is. You are not to change the any that is in data. Then you have to focus on that is the longest side. Where is the effect? Which thing will affect there? The true shape position will that is the effect by changing that is the data. Suppose the longest side is given in the vertical plane, then you have to draw the same rectangle which is the true shape of that is the plane with the longest side perpendicular to the xy, perpendicular to the xy. Your shortest side is then given, therefore you draw the rectangle which is the true shape of the plane with the shortest side perpendicular to the xy. Therefore, side away you draw the line perpendicular, shortest side perpendicular to the xy, which of that is a 30 millimeter. So longest side is horizontal, it is of the 60. You draw this in a rectangle which is the true shape of the plane. Then project this one up to the xy. On a xy means on a horizontal plane, you will get that is in a top view. So this line is the top view of the plane. Now, always you have to draw the here figure, next one in the second stage, but that angle is not given. Surface inclination is not given. That you have to determine here. Here you have to determine. The instead of if the angle is not given, phi angle is not given, surface inclination is not given. So what you will do, you draw that is the reduced figure, which is given the square, and both the figure always on that is in the same, that is in a locus, same that is in a locus. Therefore, what you do, you draw the lines parallel to the xy line, parallel to the xy, parallel to the xy, keeping some suppose a gap here, suppose keeping some that is a distance, convenient that is a distance. Then on a projector on a loci line, again you draw the vertical line, it is of the 30. This 30 will remain the same. Now you have to form here the square, you have to draw the square. So this is the 30, this must be that is a 30. So instead of taking the 60, means here in the problem, after making the plane inclined to the vertical plane, after making the plane inclined to the vertical plane, in the front view, that longest side which of the 60, it is reduces to the 30. So the figure formed that is a square, meaning that after making the plane inclined to the vertical plane, that rectangular plane reduces to the square, reduces to the square, reduces to the square. For one of the angle, it directly reduces to a square. If it is a square, all sides are remain the same. This is a 30, therefore you take the 30 horizontally and draw this in a square. Then after drawing this in a figure, now how to obtain the surface inclination? Because that is an equation that you have to determine. What you do, now you draw the projectors in that is in a top view. Draw the projector. Now which is the shortest side, that you have to take in a vertical plane. We have taken here A to the D. AD is the shortest side. You have taken here perpendicular, A dash D dash, perpendicular to the horizontal plane, and it is in a vertical plane. So AD is that is in a top view. AD is it's in a top view. That is in a vertical plane. Therefore, take the AD in XY. On a projector, on XY, you mark that is in a point. That is the line AD, side AB, shortest side, top view of the shortest side. You take on the projector on the XY line. Means you have taken side AB, shortest side AD in a vertical plane. Then already you have drawn the projector. Then takes length of the surface from the first figure. Here length of A to the B. Here no doubt it is a 60. Therefore this length equal to the 60 centimeter. 60 suppose the millimeters. Take the radius of the 60. Center A and cut the projector from the B, and that is a C. Here arc is that is shown. Here this length equal to this length. That is the length of the surface. After then draw this in a line. that is the surface inclination in the second stage, and you measure this angle is phi, though it is not shown here. This is the phi, that is the inclination of surface of the plane with a vertical plane. That is the inclination of the surface, inclination of that is a plane with that is a vertical plane. In this suppose a way, suppose the surface inclination is in a given, you can get that is in a reduced figure. Suppose the reduced figure is suppose a given, you can determine the inclination of that is in a surface, inclination of the surface. But inclination of the surface with a vertical with horizontal plane, that depend upon the reduced figure given. Here reduced figure given in a front view, therefore surface must incline to the vertical plane, and if suppose the reduced figure is given in the top view, then plane must incline to the horizontal plane. Then the shortest side is given 30 degrees to the 30 degrees to that is a 30 degrees to the horizontal plane. Therefore this is the same, that is the sphere, turn it by an angle of 30 degrees. Yeah, you draw the line making angle of 30 degrees. Along this one you take this and shortest side a1 dash d1 dash and draw the same sphere. That is then a final front view. In the final front view, there is the sphere of 30 by 30, and the shortest side making the 30 degrees to that is the xy, means it is a 30 degrees with a horizontal plane. Then draw the projectors, and from the previous top view you draw the locus lines, mark the points of intersection. Then this is the a1, b1, c1 and the d1. This is the final top view. See that one, these are the projections of the rectangular plane. This is the front view, this is the top view. These are the projections of this rectangular plane. In the front view, it is the square with the one side, shortest side making the 30 degrees, and it is in a vertical plane. You can observe in the top view, a1 d1 is lying along the xy line. In a top view means that side is in a vertical plane. In the top view you are getting the parallelogram, and in the front view you are getting the square, and both the figure they are smaller than the rectangle, smaller than the true shape of the plane. In this way, when plane is inclined to both horizontal plane and that is in a vertical plane, inclined to the both horizontal plane and the vertical plane, projections are drawn in that in three stages. Projections are drawn in the three stages. In the first stage, you have to assume the plane parallel to the one of the plane. Yeah, in the one of the plane. In the second stage, you have to make the plane inclined to the both the plane, and in the third stage, you have to make the plane inclined to the other plane, or you have to make some of the side inclined to the other that is in a plane. Then the figures obtained in the third stage, that is the solution, that are the final projections, both are the reduced figure. The when plane is inclined to both horizontal plane and the vertical plane, inclined to the both horizontal plane, the front view and the top view both are the reduced figure, but nature of the figure that will remain the same. So the first figure is the rectangle, that is suppose the quadrilateral, you will get that is suppose the quadrilaterals. Rectangle, the rectangular four-sided figure, you will the first figure is the pentagon, then that is the final projections also that is a pentagon, but they are smaller in that is the side. So the first figure is that is suppose a circle. Suppose the first figure in a plane is suppose a circle, then this figure front view and the top view they must be the elliptical. Circular means reduced size of that is in a circle, means that must be the ellipse, front view with the ellipse and the top view with the ellipse. In this other way you can draw the projections of the plane when plane is inclined to both horizontal plane and that is in a vertical plane.